We might have to turn it off
Yeah,
or turn it down.
I mean, I was gonna turn it off because I was just gonna make noise.
Can you
Go ahead and click it. Difference. Does that make a big difference in lighting?
She said, does that make a big difference in lighting?
That's great.
She said it's great.
Okay.
And we are live, I believe, on Facebook. So we'll just welcome people as they come. If you could check on if you have like a mobile or if you can look and make sure it's mirroring. I believe that it is. Let's see here. Oh, we do have Tanya's listening and says hi, Nikki. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Tanya. I'm
So,
going to try to pull it up on my
okay, I
phone.
can see the chat. I can see the interface, everyone who's popping in. We're just doing a little housekeeping. So far, it just tells me Tanya's eyes are here, which is great. Let's see. Okay, we're all learning new things with the technology. Um, is the sound okay, Tanya? Okay, this is very interesting. All right, we will just assume that the sound is good here. And go ahead and make a share. All right, she says the sound is great.
Good.
Everything looks okay. Hello and welcome to the Safe Shop pop up. My name is Joelle, and I am the Viberarian. And I am joined this evening for this event by Nikki, who is one of my favorite artists.
Oh,
She is the creative force behind K the Other Way. So,
yes,
Nikki, thank you for joining up with me again. This is
absolutely.
our we've connected several times, so this is not really new for us, although this is kind of a new way to interact in terms of bringing people access to your art. Welcome, Nikki.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
So this is your busy season.
Yes.
And it's busy because not only do you create art like paintings and things that you think of, you also create art with objects
Yes.
and you create crafty type things. I mean,
Right.
like you said at one point that if it's got a surface on it, you will find a way to do art with it, right?
Absolutely. Anything. Yes.
So you've covered wooden pieces, you've made boxes, you've got prints, you've got art, you've got journals. I mean, and this year, and I think last year, you've got these ornaments, which I think are super cute. So
Yeah.
we're
Thank
going to
you.
be showcasing a lot of your stuff this evening and having a conversation about your art and your philosophy behind it, and just all things that we choose to have a conversation about. And hopefully, we'll be able to connect you with people who are interested in purchasing your items as gifts for themselves or others. And we'll just kind of be real loose with it and go from there. If you're in the chat, thank you for joining us on this Facebook Live. If you're catching this afterwards on one of our social channels, please do not hesitate to reach out to Nikki through her contact information, which will be provided, or myself, so that we can get you connected to see if the item that you are interested in is still available. And also to keep you in touch with Nikki for future things that she'll be creating. So you have been doing art for how many years now as a way of being, not just as a hobby?
Um, ooh, a long time. But I can say like maybe 4. We'll say 4. As
Okay.
like seriously focused on it, 4 years, yeah.
Okay. And but you didn't have any formal training,
No.
but you can actually draw things. I can't draw stick figures, so no amount
I
of formal training would help me with anything. But you had a natural knack. Did you have a knack as a child, even though, for putting things together that look good?
Yes, I've always been like really creative, and I've always loved to take scraps of things and put them together and make other things out of them. So like you said you can't draw stick figures. I actually don't draw at all. So anything that you see that I've painted, there might be, if we were to take all of the paint off, there might be like the tiniest bit of like a pencil sketch, but generally I just grab a brush and go,
Wow.
which is scary sometimes, but that's the way, that's how it works out for me. Yeah.
So the creative flow just comes through you and it
Yeah.
actually looks good. See, I get creative flow, but it's not anything that I can share with anybody after it flows out of my hand. So I think I have such an admiration, honestly, for the artists among us, because creativity is such a beautiful energy. And you know, when you've seen a work of art that someone has done actual work with their hands, where they've painted, they've shaped it, all of those kinds of things. It's like such a beautiful manifestation, and you can feel so often the energy that the artist is actually in as they are bringing forth their vision. And I think that art is truly a gift. Can you speak to art in terms of art is life?
um, so as I mentioned a minute ago, I've always been creative. I was a poet for a very long time. Um, I took piano lessons and music lessons as a child, and now I paint. So like there has never been a moment in my life where I wasn't creating something.
Mhm.
And in the moments where before I really started focusing on my art, well, this version of my art, um, if I wasn't creating something, I would be really, really off key. Like I would just not
Mhm.
be able to find um, any real meaning or any real peace. So I would just write a poem or sometimes draw a stick figure or even the simplest thing like cook a meal. Like there would have to be some kind of creation happening for me to find my balance. So for me, art and the creative process is my life. I have to do it in order to live, to function normally.
I mean, I know I hesitate to make broad brush generalizations because we all are different, But I think that at a fundamental level, it is true for all of us as human beings that if we do not have an outlet for our creative expressions, whatever that may be, it does hurt our spirit. It
Absolutely.
does kill a part of us. I think there's a lot of conversation about like the sacral chakra and if you're suppressing that chakra energy, what it looks like. But it's interesting because there was conversation leading up to the change of 2020 that kids were not getting exposed anymore in school to enough art, that art had hit the chopping block from whether it was music, whether it was actual instruments and choir and performing or any of those kind of creative things had become secondary to the academic focus, and many people were saying you have to be able to have kids to have space to do this because it's essential to their imagination development, which will enable them later to solve problems differently. It
Absolutely.
wires their brain differently when they've been given space to play and create and do things with the brain. So it's very interesting because now we're in this year when school is very atypical and the kids are in Zoom or they're at home, and you have to wonder about then their opportunity to engage in artistic activities with all the other pressures that are happening.
Right. Right. Like, what are they losing by not being able to, number one, engage with each other, and number two, to be able to express those things in them that are not commonplace.
Hmm. Not commonplace. That's interesting that you phrase it like that because art is as individualized as the creator and the viewer. And
Absolutely.
I don't think that even seeing a painting in a hotel room that you know is in 50,000 other hotel rooms because that's what the hotel room has selected for their
Right.
rooms, it still is an individual experience
Absolutely.
when you go in so to see the room that you're getting ready to stay in, and that art is then part of your experience overall. So it tends to pass over our notice, right? It
Right.
kind of then factors into the background. But if the walls were bare,
Mm-hmm.
we would know it because
Yes.
it would make it feel sterile,
Mm-hmm.
and it changes the tone even to have, cheesy mass market
Prince. Yeah.
art. Yeah. So one of the things that I love about meeting you and encountering other artists is that it gives me an opportunity of accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things with art, when you get into the, I don't even know what the right word would be, but it's like the system of art, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, or the economy of art.
Mm-hmm.
There are the in artists. Oh, do you have a so and so? Do you
Yeah.
have a this, that, and the other? But the thing is,
Yeah.
there are people creating and painting and crafting and stuff all over that you will not see at the Metropolitan Museum of Art
Not
or
at
at
all.
the Black Heritage or the Cultural Heritage Center. And yet it can bring such an enrichment into your own environment to where your own home becomes a gallery, if you will. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that I actually have real paintings. Really, for the first time in my life, I've had art for sure, but I haven't had a lot of things that I could actually touch and feel the texture of them and
Right.
know that someone purposely made that thing for me, and to be able to support then an individual and say, yes, I know this person, she painted it for me, or
Right.
I commissioned a
Mm-hmm.
piece, because a lot of people think then commissioning is beyond your reach as well. But I know that there are plenty of artists who would love to take the seed
Mm-hmm.
of the idea and bring a vision to life for your environment. Do
Absolutely.
you do commission work very much at this particular time? Are you so busy with your own projects or?
At the end of the year, no. Generally, like, commissions happen in the early spring, like from spring to summer, because people are thinking about how to like spruce up their home and like refresh it. So they want something new to look at. So that's generally when I would do a commission, or I would have more. That's actually when my commission season opens. It
Okay.
doesn't stop people from asking all year long, but I try not to during the holiday season because I know I'm going to be doing ornaments and gifts. um, but yeah, commissions happen often. I just try not to do them when I'm in like glitter heaven, which is right now.
You mentioned glitter heaven. If
Yeah.
anyone would love to follow Kay on her adventures, you can check in on her Instagram. Your Instagram is at Kay the Other Way,
Yes.
and also on Facebook. And I'll tell you, I go shopping with her virtually when she's in her like Goodwill, thrift stores, crafts, Michael's, clearance, and every time you're like, oh goody, I get to forage through this like thrift shop that we stumbled upon, and I know I'm gonna find something. You're like,
Yeah.
glue gun, $1, oh,
Yeah.
store. And I'm like, oh, I love to see people when they geek out on their own little thing. Like I geek out on Oracle cards. That makes me
Yeah.
happy. You know what I'm saying? You geek out at the craft store. And I have a
Oh
couple
yeah.
of friends who are also very artistic that I'm always sending the post like, man, if the two of you had your your pockets full of cash and
Oh
could
man.
spend 2 days tooling around, you'd be fighting each other in the aisles over the over the stuff that you see. But it's very infectious, to say the least, to see you excited like a kid in the candy store, for
I
real. Like
am.
I'm about to glitter the hell out of everything, you know.
Absolutely.
That's the inner child, right? That's what art does. It speaks to the child in us that gets to play and color outside the lines and things of that nature. So I appreciate the fact that I get to observe you preparing. And you also share a lot with people as you are creating the pieces at different
Yeah.
stages. What made you decide to open up your creative process to public eye?
Um, well, part of it is because it's good content. People want to know. They want to peek behind the veil, right? They
Mhm.
see the blank thing and then they see what I make and they want to know, well, what happened between. The I feel the number one question that artists are asked is, what's your process? What was your inspiration? How did you
Mhm.
do this thing? And sometimes, because I work with different textures and different mediums, often in the same piece, people want to know, well, how did you make this thing? And
Mhm.
it kind of demystifies the creative process. It still is quite mysterious because they don't understand, because they can't relate to it, because sometimes they don't have that creative um, component to their own experience. But it helps people to understand, number one, that this is also work. Even though I enjoy it, it is work. There's a
Right.
certain level of like mastery that goes into creating things. You have to know how things will interact with each other.
Mm.
Um, and then there's also, um, this is my time. And that kind of like adds to, well, it informs the business process too, because people will try to like undercut your prices when you worked on a piece for like a month and then you offer it and they go, well, I can get that somewhere else for this much. No, you can't.
Right.
You really can't. Like I no, you can't. So it kind of helps me with that because people will see the process and they appreciate the piece more when they know, girl, I saw you post the beginning of that like 3 months ago and it's finally finished. I'm so excited for you and I want it.
Mm.
It's like that.
Mhm.
So number one, for content, and number two, because otherwise I wouldn't share at all, because I am very, very particular about my process, and because it is sacred to me. So I don't necessarily share all of it, but I'll share the parts like when I've done the beginning stages, when I've actually um, gotten the inspiration and I've talked to the canvas, whatever the canvas is at that moment, and we've agreed on what it's going to look like, and I've started that. After I do all that, then you can see it. Um,
Mhm.
but generally for content and to help demystify the process and to help
Mhm.
people understand what they're getting when they buy a piece from me.
Has it had any negatives in terms of that experience for you?
Um, yes. Uh, uh, sometimes it almost makes people feel like the thing is easy to do. Uh, so they'll do it, and I'm not knocking anybody that wants to try it. Do it's your money and it's your time. You do what you want to do with it. But I've had people say, "Well, I tried to do this thing that you did, and mine doesn't look like yours."
Hmm.
And why doesn't mine look like yours? Because you made it look easy.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I've tried things and I failed at them. I have tried techniques that I absolutely need more practice with. Mediums that I'm not so great at. Some that I haven't tried because I'm scared of them, to be honest. But there is a certain level of mastery and work that goes into the product. And it's just like anything else on social media. I'm showing you what I want you to see. I want you to see, hey, I got 5 ornaments lined up and they look good. You don't see the 7 that I had to start over completely because they look a mess to me. So so I'm showing you this part. So in case you do want to try it, you can be encouraged. Well, I could potentially make something, but I also might make something that looks like the thing that she just scraped off and threw in the trash.
Right. That's what they tell everybody. Caution. What you see on the internet is what your people are allowing you to see. Don't
Yeah,
get it twisted.
yeah.
I will say this as a person who in my house, when I had a house, I had gotten all into the HGTV thing. So I saw, trading spaces
Oh
would go
yeah,
in these houses and do this stuff. So I had it in my mind that
yeah.
I could sponge my house. And I
Hmm.
started with the half bath downstairs because I said I'm not gonna mess up a whole thing, but it's just sponge and a little bit of paint. I followed the directions. I at the time Googled more directions, and I
Hmm.
think I looked at a Home Depot class. Even had all my equipment. 3 layers later of sponging, my ex-husband did not stop referring to the bathroom as the abomination. Okay, because
Wow,
I picked the
wow.
wrong color. You don't want to have like dark chocolate walls in a small space bathroom as your
No.
base coat. You're not going to be able to, like, let's say it was art, but it
Hmm.
was not art that was pleasing to anybody. And I don't think he probably used that bathroom a single time after that. And I know when they went to sell the house, they were like, you can paint over this,
Right,
because it didn't come together for me, right?
right.
So when you talk about people seeing that, all of the artists now who are pouring are showing their pours and they show you what it does and it makes it look so simple. It's just
Hmm.
paint dripping out of a
Oh
can,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Supposedly,
Right.
rude awakening, although it was fun. I felt
Yeah.
fun when I was doing it. The end product did not make me feel happy on the inside, and we
Right.
preferably would love to have that happen. So I had to snicker when you said people were like mine didn't look like yours. Right? That's the problem with making it look easy. I will share one of your pieces that I brought home with me after the last elevation station.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so this is an example of what type of work.
That is an acrylic pour.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so this is not textured in terms of it's not raised.
Right.
It is coated though, like it's some kind of finish over the
Yeah, it's
actual paint,
varnish.
I believe, and it
Yeah.
is signed. And you know what I'm saying? On canvas, this is in my living room. I took it down for today's uh, conversation. So this this wasn't your first go
No.
at doing
No.
one of these,
My
right?
first ones are terrible, but I still have a few of them because I like to keep the things that I call failures around me. To it keeps me humble, and it also just it helps me it helps remind me of like growth because I'm a type A personality. I'm a perfectionist, so I have to keep things around me to remind me that it wasn't perfect in the beginning. It's not perfect now, but look at the difference between where you started and where you are now.
Mm,
I can see the growth and I can be grateful for the growth. So
mm.
that piece happened toward the end of me learning how to pour, and it actually is one of the better ones, which is how it ended up out in the public and not in the dumpster.
So how did you go from, okay, these are in my house on the wall and these are not ones that I'm happy with, to selling art to people? Like, what was how did you go from hobbyist into artist, professional?
Um, People kept asking me why I didn't do more art because I was painting pieces for my friends, and their friends would see it and be like, "Oh, I want something from her. Like, what's her website?" But there was no website because I
Mm,
was only doing it when somebody would ask me for something.
mm,
And then I got into this phase where I was just creating. I was in grad school, and it was Christmas break, and I was supposed to be getting my reading list together for my comp exams and my thesis. So, of course, I decided to do something else because I didn't want to do that. It was my way of procrastinating, and I created. Um, it's not down here. I did a piece with some fabric, uh, and created this piece with three women instead of doing my actual academic work. And I posted it on Instagram, and my friends were like, "Okay, so where's the website?" And I was like, "There is no website. I'm supposed to be reading books right now and taking notes, but
mm,
here I am." Um,
mhm.
but from there, it just became a thing of, I really enjoyed doing that. I should probably do more of that, and not just because people are asking me. Um, and I just jumped out at it. I just did it.
That's such a perfect example of how when you do what you love, there is something in each of us, right? That's my little Viberarian expansion. Right? There's something in each of us that we are to gift the world with. And it also gifts us
Hmm.
when we do it. And so many of us have a gift that we're using, but it doesn't gift us. And when we do it, if we've outgrown it or if it's what we don't choose in this now moment, it's okay to not choose to use a gift in the now moment. You know what I mean? But for those of us who are like, why is this in me that I want to, bake cookies, or I want to create art, or I want to do this? And if you just put yourself in the frequency of what you love, which in that case, it took you away from what you were supposed to do, but
Yeah.
you were so much loving it. And then the universe says to you, we will continue to support you to do that, do more,
Yes.
because people are going to pay for it. And then people are going to want more of it. And then you're going to be in your little happy little space even more. And we like Nikki when she's in her happy little space. That's what we created Nikki to vibrate at as a frequency. And so
Right.
it becomes an equation of continuous good information, good energy exchange. So you did it without even thinking. And if something is distracting you away from your life, in terms of the life that you've set up for yourself, but if that thing is distracting you from it, then you need to incorporate it into your life, and the universe will support you incorporating it to greater and greater degrees.
Absolutely.
I have to tell you that, we've got Crystal in here.
I
She's
see
an
that. Hey,
awesome
Crystal.
supporter. And Tanya, thank you, everyone who is tuning in today. Chris, thank you, everyone who is, hopping in for the conversation today and to shop with Nikki. This is just interesting. Of course, I'm a talker. I could talk for ever and a day. But do you have any pieces that are like acrylic that you would like to show on camera at this particular time, since we've been talking about pouring?
I have a few. I don't have too many because they kind of got out of here. Um, like when I did your event and I did Crystal's event, y'all kind of ate those up. I ain't mad about that. But I have one right here, trying to get the
Ooh,
glare out.
oh,
And then I have
pretty.
I went through this monochrome phase and I went through a black and white phase because I was watching too many YouTube videos, and I was like, oh, I wonder what if I could do that technique but with black and white. So I would try different things with black and white. So I think I have one more coming that I can show. And then I have one larger one that I did
Oh,
here. This is the black and white one. Um,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, I did a few. I did several $100s worth.
Okay.
I spent several $100s on stuff to pour, and my kitchen was a mess. Um, y'all can't see, but my girlfriend, my partner, is over. And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, it was."
Paint everywhere, right?
Yes, paint everywhere on the walls, on the windowsill, everywhere, all over the floor. But it was a good time. I enjoyed it.
Can you show the purple one again? I think
Oh,
Crystal says, "Oh, that's
absolutely.
Purple Rain," right?
Yes.
I love that. That is so
And the color
beautiful.
actually kind of shifts a little bit. So depending on how the light hits it,
Mhm.
it's purple, and then it's also kind of a magenta color too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, are people able to commission color palette work
Yes.
with you if they want pours to match their existing decor?
Absolutely. I
Okay,
did a
so
few larger pieces for people who were very specific about the colors that they wanted because they wanted it for a specific room, or they had a vibe going on that they wanted to try to capture in a piece. Or for example, like one of my clients wanted something for her bedroom, and so she wanted something that looked like an ocean wave but not in ocean wave colors. So she picked
mhm.
her colors, and then I did the technique, and we kind of worked it out so that she could get the piece that she wanted. Yeah, so absolutely.
All right. One lady said she got a pandemic journal. Did you have a pandemic journal or?
Yeah. It says fuck it. Hold on one second. If that's the one I think that she's talking about. Uh yeah, that's how I was feeling the other day. Cause I'm sick of I'm sick of it. It's yeah.
So journals were, that's the other thing. Well, all right. So for all the journalers out there, if you are interested in that now, journals, either you're in them or you're not. Okay, so people who journal, I have a friend who's got all her journals since she was like a high schooler, and
Me
she's
too.
close to 50 now, and fills them and rereads them, right? And I'm
Right.
unfortunately one of those journal people that I have like usually one page where I start. The road with good intentions is paved with my empty journals. Okay, because I am like, just that's not my habit pattern, but
Mhm.
I love this. I received this journal from you as a gift, and I'm actually going to be gifting this and giving it to a member of the Good Vibe Tribe as
Hey.
we come into the first of the year. So these journals, I mean, so you're actually painting and doing things on them, but then they're able to be reused. So
Right.
how does that work? That this is actually a painting on top of my journal.
Um I'm seeing if I have mine. My actual, I think it's upstairs, but I have been a journaler since she cracking jokes. Um there's okay. Uh but since I was like in middle school, maybe even before, probably like fifth grade.
Mhm.
Um and I've also been a doodler. I'm not a drawer. I don't draw, but I will doodle. So I've always doodled on my journals. Always. Give me that planner right there. So like it was a natural progression for me to just draw. One of my favorite things about going back to school every year was and this will date me, but I'm okay with that, was getting the brown paper bags from the grocery store to
Mhm.
put them on my books so that I
Okay.
could draw on them, uh, and
Right.
drawing on my notebooks. So just like this is my planner for 2020. So
Oh.
like yeah, I just draw on everything. Like I said, if there's a surface, I'm gonna draw on it,
Mhm.
and or I'm gonna put something on it. So I wanted to create um, journals for other people that because I love to journal and I love what journaling represents for me. I wanted to give other people that same feeling or that gift or that whatever, but make it uniquely mine. And that's what I did. So if
Oh.
I can, if I have an idea, if I can shrink that idea in my head and put it on the cover of a journal, then I'm gonna do it.
Mm. I love that. And actually, one of the folks who's in the live is on the chat is Crystal Perry, who runs an organization, Melanated Pearl, which is very much about community involvement and empowerment. And you have done things with her in terms of your Crown Initiative. So, can you
Absolutely.
share about the Crown Initiative and how the journals tie into that?
So the Crown Initiative is I don't like to call it a program, so I'll just stick with the word initiative that I started through K the Other Way to provide people with the opportunity to send a little bit of love to a Black woman that they care about. Because 2020 was a shit show. And on top of it being a shit show, we weren't able to really have those moments of sisterhood like we normally would. Like, I haven't been able to go to my sister's house, pick her up, and we go have drinks or hang out or whatever. And we need those moments of community. And because, like we were talking about earlier, we are all going through these individualized um, experiences and we can't necessarily commune in the way that we would before. I thought, well, why not offer people the chance to just send somebody that they love a care package? And right now, it is the journal, a small painting, some pens that I like, and a card that just says, "Hey, girl, such and such was thinking about you," and they want to give you a safe space to do whatever you need to do in this journal, just to let you know that you're loved, you're acknowledged, you're valued, and you're cared for, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and it's been, I think, if I don't do anything else, I am satisfied with the fact that I did that. That is my crowning achievement in life, is that I created the Crown Initiative.
And
Yeah,
you've sent like how many hey girl hey packages do you think that you've
no
sent? I
idea.
know Crystal's drive when she did with Melanated Pearl, that I saw so many posts with people saying I got my package,
Yeah,
from that. I mean, do you have any sense of how many?
no idea. No idea. I could probably look at the thing and see how many people have purchased one, but I know that when I first announced it, I was sending like two or three a week, which
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily sound like a lot, but when you consider the fact that somebody goes, "Ooh, I can send my friend this thing. Let me do
Yes,
it," and then they do it, that's a big deal. So,
one, yes. It's
yeah,
a big deal to that person. I mean, and we're talking about care, self care. I mean, freedom of expression, first of all, as a place to be able to store your innermost thoughts should you need to.
right,
Self care starts with like understanding who you are, and journals are a great tool to do that. And art also. is self-care because it's something just for beauty's sake. Like
Right.
it doesn't have to have a purpose other than to bring a smile at a higher frequency to your life. And if you're like in a depression or you're stressed or you're managing all these new expectations that this year has brought on you, art has probably been the last thing on your mind. So
Right.
the fact that somebody thinks of you and says, "Hey, I put together, I had an artist put together a little thing for you," and just to
Mm-hmm.
know that you were loved and thought about for no other reason other than you need to just straighten your crown and
Right. That's
know
it.
that you are, queen and royal and loved. So I think
That's
that's
right.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we've got a journal. So, do you have any other journals that you want to show?
Sure. I'm not a bullet journaler. That's one of my fails in life. But I did create some because I know that other people do. I have a best friend that is all about bullet journaling. That's her
Mhm.
jam. So I did that one. I
And a
have
bullet
two.
journal is what?
A bullet journal is a system of journaling that uses, it has its own key that you create and design. It helps you to track diet, exercise, water intake, all kinds of things like grocery list. It's a way to micromanage your to-do list, if that makes sense. And I know that I'm oversimplifying it, and I'm sure people are gonna be like, that it's more than that. Okay, it is. I understand that, but I don't do it. So I have
Right.
to talk
So
about
this
it
is
the way that I do it.
probably close to a bullet journal in terms of it had like things in it, prompts and ways to organize my life and like to-do lists and those things you talk about,
Right,
which explains, since it has to do with micromanaging organization, those two
right.
words don't necessarily come into my reality often. So that explains why my whole 2020 journal is empty because I did not manage myself. This might be, oh, this is 2019.
Oh,
Right? But of course, I haven't thrown it away because I'm like, oh, these are so cute, right?
and
And I think
you
I
can still
saw
use
one
those.
at Ross a couple of weeks ago and was like, oh, another yearly planner. And I thought to myself, just don't even do it. You're just intending, and it's not your style, and that's okay. So I love that you have something for the people who want to be organized on the inside and not just free flowing in their writing. Oh, I love those.
Right.
Okay,
So I have
money. So you're manifesting and
right for the people that,
pentacles. Ooh,
yeah, are really trying to like. I'm trying to
yeah, those look great.
manage the glare here because I see a lot of glare. But
Those
yeah,
are so these are available now.
yes.
Okay, and so the price range on journals in your store is like, what do we have in terms of price range?
35 or $45, I think. I'm not entirely sure because I put them up so long ago that um I wasn't even paying attention, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The other thing that I
Mm-hmm.
need people to understand is I really don't like, this is gonna sound bad, the nuts and bolts of the business part. So like I'd much rather be creating. So whereas I am aware of what I'm doing as it pertains to my business, I think more about the creation of things than I do the other part, which is kind of bad, but it is what it is.
Well, you do what you love. The
Right.
nitty gritty details. That's why you have co-collaborators and other people
Right.
to work
Right.
in and help with that process. I know my mom is an amazing quilter,
Hmm.
and she has gifted each of us in my family with king size, well, t-shirt quilts for one thing, but not like your typical ones you would see online. I mean, hers are actual beautiful quilted works. And then I have a beautiful king size quilt that she did with all these pieces and scraps and fat quarters and all
Hmm.
those little things that she did. And I've asked her over the years, like, how come you don't sell quilts? And she was like, it would kill the enjoyment of it for me because people don't want to pay. As you said, they don't understand how many hours of cutting and stitching and all of that. So when you're using the typical formulas that say, well, your materials cost plus your labor cost plus your shipping equals your product cost. When you're doing something that is art, it's
Mm-hmm.
not like going to work your job for 8 hours a day where there's a set stop point and your day was equal to this amount of money.
Correct.
You could be spending hours on a journal that
Right.
would not translate into the labor type of
Right.
cost that would go into it. So I can understand why it can be very challenging to figure out how to price
Yeah.
something that you want. But I know that if Ross can charge 10.99 supposedly for a $20 item, supposedly it's all
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors in terms of pricing and what we perceive as value. But
Correct.
if they can mass produce something that, yeah, some creator somewhere did design this, I don't
Mm-hmm.
take away from that. But if I can directly interact with a creator and pay a higher price in order to do that and say, well, I know this person who is the creator and I am directly supporting their continued creativity, that's my personal preference in terms of shopping. I will
Right.
always try to go with an independent person or direct producer before I would go with a mass market producer. But that's my personal
Right.
principle.
Right. And the thing I try to tell people is when it comes to something as intimate as a journal, you kind of want to be able to say, this is completely mine. It belongs, it is mine. Even if um, it's something that you bought from the website that I designed previously, it resonated with you in a way. So it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else is going to have that. I don't recreate journal designs. I might draw the same like face and do the same head wrap, but the design of the entire journal is going to be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
you're still getting something that's unique to you that resonated with you in a way that probably wouldn't happen if you went to Barnes and Noble and picked up a moleskin. Even though I love moleskins, when I get them home, I still draw on them.
You what? No.
Absolutely. That's why I was looking for mine so I could show you. I still draw on it. Yeah.
Mm,
Because I want it to be mine.
right.
And that's the thing that you get when you buy a journal from me. You're getting
Mm,
something completely original and unique that's just for you.
I
Yeah.
love that. I'm going to skip from journals to
Hmm.
our holiday centered art
Hmm.
because you're speaking to that. Let me have something that's uniquely mine.
Hmm.
And you have been doing Christmas ornaments for people's trees. And I think they're so cute. You've got some that are glittery. Did some, I think last year's creative push was when you were coming into the whole pouring kind of
Yes.
process with your ornaments. But to be able to say when people see your Christmas tree, oh my gosh, your tree is so amazing. Where did you
Hmm.
get those ornaments? And to be able to say, you can't get them anywhere.
Absolutely
To
not.
say, you got to get your own, my brother,
Right.
that kind
Right.
of thing. So
Right.
you, I am assuming that you saw Christmas ornaments one day and are like, that looks like an art canvas. Let me see what I can do with it.
Kind of. I've always um, been in love with Christmas ornaments, even when I didn't celebrate the holiday. Uh, when I was a kid, I would collect the Hallmark ornaments. You know, they would have the
Mm-hmm.
collectible ornaments. I would save my allowance up so that I could buy one every year. Sometimes two. If I was, extra good that year, I get extra money and I would take it and get the whatever the keepsake ornament was that resonated with me the most. That's when I would get. So last year I was like, I should be making my own keepsake ornaments. Like I wanted a way to give people that celebrated something that they could pull out every year and reuse because I'm all about functional art too. But also, when you have people at your house and they look at your tree, people put a lot of pride in decorating their home for the holidays.
Mhm.
I wanted something that would match my level of arrogance, but for everyone. So it's um, like you said, oh, you got to get your own friend. You're not gonna find these at the
Right.
at home store. You're not gonna get these from Marshalls or wherever you get your ornaments from. Somebody made these,
Mhm.
and I started going to Michael's and Hobby Lobby and pilfering all of their uh, little tubes of ornaments and buying all the glitter I could put in my car, and here we are. Oh, Tanya said,
Uh,
okay, Tanya, I got you, girl.
okay.
I've been waiting on you to
So
tell me about this feather, Tanya. Just DM me on Instagram and we'll talk about your feather painting friend.
yeah, Tanya's got a whole series. I think she's got your feather box and
Hmm.
from the elevation station. I think there
Right.
was about to be a fight over that box because somebody else had been
it
eyeballing it.
was a
Yeah,
hot little number.
exactly. I mean, again, you do anything. It was like you're
Absolutely.
like, what's the box for? You're like, doesn't matter. Look at the top
Just
of it.
put
You
something in it.
know?
Right.
Right.
Just put
Now,
something in it.
okay, so your ornaments. Let's
Mhm.
let's see a few of your ornaments that you've done for this year. I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta sorority, so of course when I saw your ornaments, I was like, oh, the blue and white family will love these. And then of course I saw that you had some pink and green, and with the new vice president, the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority are quite active and celebrating this Christmas as one of their sorors is
Yes, they
going to be
are.
making that achievement. So you've got pink and green. I know I saw some red and gold, and I think I saw some silver and blue and gold.
Now
Okay.
these are blue and gold because I graduated from the Fort Valley State University. So every
Okay.
year I have to do a blue and gold something. Anytime I paint anything, I have to do a blue and gold something. It has to be blue and gold somewhere. So I have these, and I actually called them this year the alumni collection,
Oh, nice.
because I wanted my people to know, hey y'all, I didn't forget about you. Because last year I did like maybe two sets, and they sold out before I could actually put them up anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have a bunch of them down here, so I'm gonna try to go through them as
How
quickly as
many are in a
possible.
set when a person orders a
It
set? And are
depends.
they just the round balls or is it any number or?
No, I mean, if they come out with different shapes and stuff, then I'll just try the different shapes. Because this year I did discs as well. The pink and green ones, the ones that I originally posted, are discs. So I just wanted to try those out and see how they worked. Uh, but generally, I do, because I have friends with kids. I do the round shatterproof um
Oh, they're
balls.
shatterproof.
Yeah, because I have a lot of friends with kids and pets, and kids and pets and Christmas trees do not necessarily vibe well together. Something ends up being broken.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want that to be the case with these, because that's dangerous when you're stepping
Mm-hmm.
on glass and stuff. So they are shatterproof. Um, and no matter how much glitter you see on the outside, they are varnished so
Mm-hmm.
that the glitter, you won't have glitter all over your house like I have
Okay.
glitter all over my house. uh okay, yeah, but she talking about whatever.
Wait, let me
um
see the blue one. Can you, the first one, can you hold it a little closer to there?
yes,
The shine on it is, oh, that's interesting.
yeah, I'm trying to, I can't, it's a
It's good.
okay.
It's good. It's good there. I just, me and
that
my
was
trifocals had to find the right level.
that
Oh,
was more for
beautiful.
comedic effect than anything else because this light is very bright. um
And
and then
this
I
is not for
also
the person who wants all their ornaments to look the same in terms of uniformity, because each one of these is an individual piece of
piece of
art.
art. Absolutely. These are the original pink and greens.
Okay, and that's the
And they
disc
are
shape
discs.
that you said.
Yes. Hmm. Um,
Okay, I
and
know
then
some AKAs that would like that.
I have some other green ones that are just green.
Hmm.
These are called, I think I said something like the Grinch was right, or maybe the Grinch had a point or something like that. because I'm all about some good old Grinch energy sometimes.
That's the heart chakra.
Yes. And then I have some
Ooh.
blue and silver here. This is I think
Mm,
about three different colors of blue with silver accents. Each one is completely different
beautiful.
from the other. None of them look alike. Um, which for me is these are a day at the beach, which to me is
Mm,
kind of what makes them even more valuable because you have a set and they do belong together, but they're not the same.
mm-hmm.
So it adds more variety to your holiday decor. And then I have these, the Champagne Kiss collection,
Ooh, mm-hmm.
which are I don't know, just me trying to like do a mixed media ornament, which I like to mix mediums when I do anything. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided to do that on the ornaments as well. It takes more time for me to make them when I do that, but that's what I want to do, and I do what I want. So
Nice part about being your own boss, right? Ooh, those are
absolutely,
pretty too. All of
yeah,
them are.
yeah, absolutely, and they're all, I think, with the exception of this set of pink and green and the blue and white ones that I just did the other day. They are
Mm-hmm.
all available on my website right now, and they are ready to ship. So if
Okay.
people are looking and they want it, just go get it and it'll be sent off to you.
In
I'm
time
sorry.
for.
Absolutely, because the cutoff day is the 13th. The Postal Service has said the 13th is the
Mm,
last day that we can ship things and get them to you before Christmas. So I'm trying to make sure that people have the opportunity to get what they need,
right.
what they
And
want
that's
before
why I
Christmas.
wanted to do this pop up as soon as possible. I wasn't thinking about the mail deadline and that people might have already trimmed their trees, but I mean, this is, after Christmas is when everybody goes and gets all their ornaments and things for the next year. So,
Right.
and as a gift idea, you can always send somebody a thing saying, "This is coming for you." I think
Hmm.
we're all going to be doing Christmas a little different this year in
Oh,
terms of
absolutely.
holiday gifting. But I love these and wanted to get a chance to showcase them. Do you have any of the pours that you did before? Or are you all in glitter this year?
Um, I'm all in glitter because I did some mugs earlier in the year, and that helped me work on my glitter technique because I'm not necessarily a glitter fan because it gets everywhere. I call it Satan's confetti. Um, it gets everywhere, and no matter how much you clean, there's always going to be like this tiny shimmer to remind you that you failed. So try to keep.
Mm-hmm.
But I did some mugs earlier, and I did those in glitter, and I loved the way that they turned out. So that's why I did the glitter on the ornaments because I wanted to see if I could take the same technique and apply it to the ornaments, and they
Mm-hmm.
came out really really nice.
I
So
think they're
yeah.
beautiful. Lovely. Do you have any of the mugs left, or are they gone?
Um, can you give me oh no, they're right
And
there.
the mugs are coated too, so it's not going to
Absolutely,
come
they're
off in the
dishwasher safe.
dishwasher.
They're
Okay.
dishwasher safe, and I've tested them, and no matter how hot the water is, the glitter does not come off, which would
All
be
right.
the worst thing for me is if somebody said, "Hey, I washed my mug and now my dishwasher's full of glitter." Oh my god, I would hate that for so many reasons. Um,
Right.
but this is one of the mugs,
Hmm.
and this is actually one in a set, and none of the ones in the set look alike either. I try to give people something that is beautiful, functional, and unique. So,
Hmm.
yeah, you might go on Etsy and see 30 people selling mugs with glitter on them, but I guarantee you that they won't look like mine. I
Right.
guarantee that.
I tell people all the time that we're moving away from the model of competition, right? There is no competition, it is an illusion. The
Absolutely.
people who are meant to come to you are coming to you, and no one else is going to prevent that transaction. We live in this world where the idea of intellectual property is
Hmm.
important and things are thieved and resold and on the side market and all of that stuff. But from the spirit sense, I just don't believe that that will dilute what is meant for you and the
Mm-hmm.
person who is meant to connect with you. So,
Right.
I hear people all the time say, oh, somebody stole my idea. And it's like, well, we're all getting ideas from the same creative space. So, like you said, even though you might have a glitter mugs, I don't have a lock on glitter mugs, but I
No.
promise you, your mug will not be mine. And because A, it's not going to have the energy that was infused in with when I created it. And that
Right.
is part of what resonates with people anyway, is that, the energy behind the artist. You could see something that looks great, but for whatever reason, you may not be compelled to buy it. That is probably the energy of the thing that was in the creator person itself that is not resonating with you, not the actual visual design that seems to hit you superficially as
Right.
pleasing, but doesn't convert you into an energy exchange with this because you don't like the energy behind it. So I practice that as like a conscious reality, is that I'm not in competition with
Right.
with anyone else, ever. So I think
Right.
that you have a very strong confidence about yourself as well, where that comes in.
Yeah, because it's just like I was saying earlier, when people try to do something that they see me doing and their thing doesn't look like my thing. Well, it's not supposed to. I don't have a lock on any of the things that I do. I'm not trying to say I'm the only person that does ornaments because I know that I'm not. I'm not saying that I'm the only person that does, because I had to learn this from somebody. So somebody else has to be doing it. I just happen to enjoy the way that my art turns out, and other people do too. So if you want to do that, then go right on ahead, friend. But it's still not going to be my thing, and that's okay.
Absolutely. And mine all have a signature
That's right.
on it and in it as
That's
well.
right.
So I want to showcase a few of your pieces of big art before
Hmm.
we end up our conversation. And everyone in the chat room, I appreciate, and I'm just so excited that you've taken the time to have this shop with me this evening. So I want to share, first of all, this is probably the largest piece of art that I own in terms of personal investment and space on my wall. It sits across from where I sit now, so I always have it in my view and space as I am working. La Luna looks over me, and the moon, of course, and the feminine energy is so much part of my personal energy and the frequency and space and my decor as well. So this beauty, I saw you painting like several things that were moon themed at a time, and I have to say, I don't know if people will be able to see, but this is a mixed media. This is not flat. There is a texture to the painting. Here you can kind of see on the side that it's all raised. It's very dimensional, and yet it's sparkly and it's safe, in terms of my greasy fingers, if you will. But this is a print on canvas. So what other, I mean, I love this. And let me just say thank you. I'm so glad that she was
Absolutely.
able to come home with me. It took me a
Absolutely.
while. You know how you have to put things on layaway, people? You can put a PlayStation on layaway. You can put art on layaway too. If it
Do what you got to
calls
do.
you, it wants to come home with you.
Hmm.
And I have to say, I was looking on your website because I had finally got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to get it, and it wasn't there. And I was like, oh, it must not be met. And then I messaged you. You were like, oh no, I set it aside for you when you first mentioned that you were interested in it. It was just
Yeah.
a matter of time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, you knew it wanted to come to me. So I thank you for creating this, La Luna, and being able to have it in my house is very, very special to me. So just let me thank you for that. So I don't know if you have
Oh.
anything you want to share about La Luna, but we definitely want to see some other pieces that you have available.
Okay. Um. Well, I almost got cussed out, but I'm gonna show the pieces that are closest to me because I can reach them.
Yes, the hamster is talking.
This is this is a hamsa that I painted. Uh-oh. Hold on. Thank you, bud. This is a hamsa that I painted. Ooh. Mm, there's no date on it, so I don't remember. I think it's like maybe a year or so ago.
Hmm.
Um, because I am all about uh
That's huge. I mean, like,
it's
it's
not it's
big.
really not compared
It's
to
not
some of the other
huge,
stuff
but
on my wall, it's not that big, but it is pretty big. It's a statement piece. I will say that. It has several layers of
I
paint.
mean,
Um
clearly.
yeah, and the Eye of Fatima is in there, and the gold to kind of help it catch the light. And I've had this piece around my house in different spots because one of the things that I do before I list the piece is I put it on my wall to see how it looks on my wall. And if I don't like how it looks on my wall, then I won't sell it until I like how it looks on my wall. I won't
Mm-hmm.
even offer it because if it's something that you have to look at every day, it should be worth looking at every day. So there are pieces that are on my wall that aren't finished because they don't look good. I can't put them up until I'm satisfied with how they look.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because
I
art is an
love
investment.
that one. That
It's
one
an
is.
investment. So if I want you to have this exchange, this exchange of money with me or whatever, then I want it to be worth the money that you're giving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let me see.
And
What
see,
else
that
is
one was big to me as an apartment dweller, but say to a person who is in a house that has a much grander space, I do see that a lot of your works are more size conscious.
mm-hmm.
Is that kind of like a logistical thing? Like you would paint like a garage size canvas, but then what would you do with it? Where would
Right,
it go kind of conversation?
right, because my I live in a townhouse, so like if I painted something as big as a garage, it would take up the whole like this wall opposite me. Then I wouldn't have space to put anything else. How would I
Mm-hmm.
get it in or out? And it wouldn't fit in my car. So a lot of this stuff is if I am somebody who lives in an apartment and I have to have or I want art there, I still want to make my apartment my home. I'm going to move at some point, maybe. I don't want that to like add to any type of like moving stress because I hate moving personally.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Mm-hmm.
and one thing I hate about moving is trying to protect my delicate things and making
Mm-hmm.
sure that the movers or whoever's helping me move, or if it's just me, that none of the stuff that I really care about gets damaged. So I'm trying to make sure that things are small enough to fit in a U-Haul picture box and be protected. And you can't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily do that with a 7 foot painting.
Right.
Yeah.
Functional, as you said, functional art, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But for a person who is interested, say if you have like a business space or an actual scale wall, then
Hmm.
as part of the commissioning process, you could do a 20 by 30
Yeah.
Hamza type of presentation. If they were
Absolutely.
like, I love the Hamza, but it's not big enough. I need it
Right.
for my yoga studio
Yeah.
in a mural. I mean,
Yeah.
you actually would do that kind of work
Oh
for
yeah.
people, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So when I get my little elevation station space for
I'm finna come.
permanency, you'll
Yes.
do the Viberarian.
I'm finna come mark all over your walls. Believe
All
me.
right, that's
I'm
awesome.
gonna paint all over that thing.
That's
Absolutely.
so beautiful, right? Because how many people have the accessibility to say, I have this piece in my salon or my shop or my space or my office was created. I know the artist.
Yeah.
Accessible accessibility of art is as important to me as functionality is to you. So that's why
Right.
I love championing what you're doing. So I see you've got an elephant there on the back wall. You do a lot with cultural symbolism, like you are dealing not just, oh, and it's glittery.
Yes.
Sparkles.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that from back here. So like your the things that are drawn to your eye in terms of the presentation, as I said, are very culturally infused, calling from your own culture as an African American, but also, from India, from, I'm assuming just from anywhere is your creative space. But I love that about what you're doing with many of your pieces. Another item that you have that I have from you is one of your women, right?
Yeah.
One of your like ancestors and women. So women figure very prominently in your art as well, especially kind of like ancestral, indigenous, and elder. What is it about those energies that is calling to you as you're presenting and creating?
They give me comfort.
Mm,
They give me courage.
mm,
They give me like respite. So like I have to, that's where I pull from. I feel like those are the people that when I'm creating something, I feel like those are the people that are talking to me.
mm,
So I'm creating from their experience.
mm,
Because like I'm not separated from my ancestors because I have their DNA. I am them. So I'm
mm,
not calling on somebody outside of me. I'm calling on something that's in me that
mm,
needs to be expressed. So when I look at something like that, I'm thinking about somebody who might have, because that's one of the Monstera mavens. I'm thinking about maybe somebody that was in South Carolina in a rice field somewhere, you know,
mm,
that
mm,
kind of thing.
mm. I
Yeah,
mean, it's so beautiful because, I mean, people can't see the dimensions, but like these flowers are not flat flowers, right? They
right.
actually are raised, as you said, so many of your pieces have mixed media elements where you can kind of see how the flowers are raised off the palette. So, that to me is also very interesting. I will say that when I got this one, I knew that I was going to be looking at my Hawaiian cards
Oh,
because this leaf that was in here is very
hmm,
much reminiscent of the leaf that of this sacred plant. And so it was in all of these cards. So I'm going to be circling back around here to see, because I did feel an indigenous. I don't remember what the name of this particular picture was. I think I saw it on your Instagram, but it was like indigenous woman or ancestor or something to that. Do you recall?
I don't. I don't.
Right. It just flows through, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I love that it is a very nature sensitive, but you also have things like a, a figure that's a boombox, like the stereo
Hmm.
speakers or a
Hmm.
turntable is on the head of the person, and you
Hmm.
do masks as well. So like you do have common motifs, although each of them are expressed separately. But I love that about it because the eye with which you view things, it's not my eye, so I like looking through your eyes
Well, thank you.
through your art.
Thank you.
So any other pieces you want to show?
Um, Not really. That sounds bad, but everything else is really big or um really far away.
Okay.
What?
Well, I
Oh,
think,
oh, I'm sorry. Tiffany is telling me this because she runs my life. So she's telling me that I need to show this piece I just did
all right.
um the other day because we have a mutual friend, Carolyn,
Mm-hmm.
who is uh one of my life coaches, and the other day she was like, "You need to just paint something for the sake of painting it," and I did this, which is rather
Ooh.
large. I'm trying to
Oh.
show it in pieces here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll lean it back a little bit and lay it
Ooh.
down.
Oh, nice.
It's a giant foot surrounded by faces.
Uh-huh.
And of course, there is the Eye of Fatima in the corner there.
Yes.
Um, but it's honestly this Fiona Apple song. Uh, my partner calls it "Can I Kick It Like Tribe Called Quest?"
Mm-hmm.
But in my head, when I was painting it, it was this Fiona Apple song. that has a lyric, I have my feet on the ground and I don't go to sleep to dream,
Mhm.
because I talk to my ancestors through my dreams. So like that's where I was with that. It's like all of these things are surrounding you. Like you walking through this path, and all of these, you perceive them as monsters, are around you, but you're protected. That's why the Eye of Fatima is down there in the corner.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, I love art, right? There's a thousand different experiences of it, right?
Yeah.
Like everything that comes to mind is meant to come to mind. Like when you heard that association and she heard Tribe Called Quest,
Right.
it's all good. It's like
Yeah.
all
We both
cool.
right.
It's interesting
Yeah.
because one of the poems that I read this week, I'll just pull it out, is by this lady named Tanya Chick, another artist creator, and her book is Flourishing Goddess. And it says, as above, so below. She embodies that cosmic head in the cloud energy while managing to keep her feet firmly rooted to the ground like a heavenly bound ancient tree with solid sacred roots. When you were talking about that, it just made me think about that feet on the ground, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's very beautiful. See what it did for me as art spurred an association. So that's why
Right.
art is so important to our
Absolutely.
individual experiences. And I will
Absolutely.
say that Carolyn is the reason that I discovered you, because
Yes.
I was looking for vendors for my Viberarian elevation station. And she was like, you need to check out this artist. I have a couple of her pieces in my home, and she sent me some pictures of her pieces, and I was like, okay. And I
Yeah.
think I talked to you like maybe just a short period of time before the event, and we connected, and it's been a great and fruitful connection to have. And I just have to thank you and
Oh.
for the powers that be that made sure that we were able to be aligned, and for the Good Vibe Tribe connection. I'm just so appreciative that you are a part of the energy that I have been exposed to. And I welcome you into my home, and we'll have these pieces for many years to come, figured prominently in my home. For anyone who's interested in picking up any of the items that Kay has shown today or checking out our web store, please go to www.ktheotherway.com. Follow her on Instagram and check out her artistic shenanigans, live vicariously through her creative process. And did you have any other information for people, Kay? I'm sorry, I
No,
always call you Kay. It's
it's
just,
fine. It's fine. People do that. It's totally fine. Just if you're looking for me on social media, just look for K the Other Way. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, I think Snapchat, Facebook, anywhere. That's where I am.
you're everywhere. Yeah. And I see you
Everywhere.
started pinning, and I'm
Yes.
like, oh, I can see some of the projects that you're pinning. I'm like, oh, I can't wait till she starts playing with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll be
Yeah.
cool. I know you've been doing molds. I know you did some
Yes.
molds of
I
some
need to I
things
need to
in
stay
your
off
clay, but
Pinterest.
I haven't seen any of them produced yet for the public. So I know
Oh,
you're
I can show you one. Can you go grab me that keychain? One of the little one keychain. I'm still, because I am a perfectionist. Some of the stuff that I've done has been amazing and beautiful and cute, and some of it has been uh, dumpster fodder. So
to you.
to me, yes,
And that's what matters, right?
yeah, yeah. So, but I am oh, it's right here. I'm sorry. I'm finna get in trouble, y'all. It's in here, baby. I'm finna get in a lot of trouble. Oh, okay. She found one. Okay. But I do have coming very, very soon, and this one's kind of ashy because I'm still working on it. But I'm making keychains
Oh, that's
for the
thick.
people. Yeah, yeah. It's heavy
Oh.
duty. It's gonna last.
What's
Um,
the material on that? I couldn't really get a
this
sense.
is
Is it
this is
hard?
this is resin,
Mm.
and it has charms in them. Not all of them will have charms, but this one does. And yeah, I'm enjoying that process as well because it's stretching me. I like to do things that I don't know how to do. to challenge me. And this has been one of those things. And it's something very small, something because when people think of art, they think of a big thing,
Right.
big, and like we were talking about access, they think of it as a big, inaccessible thing. But this too is art, and you
Mm-hmm.
can carry this with you every day. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm working on now, and they're gonna be cute.
Very
Oh, she's
cool.
another one. Oh, I know. Here's another one. For
Oh,
people that like,
that's a keychain.
yeah, people that like maple leaves.
Maple, yes. I know a lot of people who like maple leaves. I might be
Yeah,
able to send some gifts to people out in Arizona and
absolutely.
California that I
Yes,
know.
yes, absolutely.
No, but I think it's cool. I'm very glad to be connected with you. I think I
Same.
mentioned before, I get very few notifications directly in Instagram in terms of what other people do. But I learned to set a notification for you because I got tired of people purchasing things before I could see them or missing things in my feed that went completely by me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I almost missed like the moon because of that when it happened. So after that, I was like, let me make sure I at least am notified. So I see when you go shopping. Now I will say that you're a bit of an early bird, so your little notifications have been going off before when I get up, and I'm like, is she shopping already? This is store
No,
open. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
no.
oh, that's just Kay. Either you're watering, Nikki, you're either just watering your plants or you're
Hmm.
getting your canvas ready. And you're like, I'm
Yes.
about to go in, y'all. And I'm like, okay. And then I roll back over. But then later I'm like, okay, what'd she do? What'd she do today? Okay, so I'm just super excited to know you and again for this conversation and for all of you who came out to support this. This is a safe shopping opportunity where you get to talk with the people who are behind the things that are available to purchase. And I hope that you patronize Kay the other way going forward. If you do, please say the Viberarian sent you
That's
and we'll
right.
pass along that goodwill.
Absolutely.
And so, to you and Tiffany both, thank you for joining this evening. And I'm sure I will be talking with you very, very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. You got something else to show? I'm like,
No,
wait
she
to see. Is
no,
it
she just
there?
knocked over a whole bunch of stuff. So
Oh,
okay.
okay. Well, to each of you, namaste. I honor and recognize the light in all.
Thank you.
Bye.